Welcome to my YouTube live on this Monday. Today we're going to be talking about thigh circles and shin circles, collectively known as leg circles. So these exercises are a staple within the kettlebell solo programs and classes that I teach inside my membership. They are a great way to build strength, especially in the lower body, but also through the upper body, the back, and the core. And one of the best parts about them is they're very simple. There's little to no technique required. There's a little bit of explanation on the form, which is what we're going to talk about today, but they're pretty basic. You can do them in any stance, and they're accessible for all levels. Another great thing about thigh circles and shin circles is that you don't need a very heavy weight to challenge yourself and reap the benefits of these exercises. So these exercises are going to, as I mentioned, they're going to strengthen your legs, so they're going to strengthen your thighs, your glutes, your calves. They're also going to strengthen your back and your core, and there's not a lot of technique required, so anybody can do these exercises. They're also going to help you with your cardiovascular fitness and your endurance, depending on the type of exercise, the type of leg circle that you do, and how many reps you do. So I'm just checking on my laptop to make sure that we're live here and it's not wanting to load. So hopefully you can see me. Let me know in the comments if you're here, if you're watching, if you can hear me and you're seeing and hearing this live. Because I don't know what's happening, but I'm not seeing myself live here. So hopefully my Wi-Fi is working. Come on. Okay, so what we're going to cover in this tutorial, we're going to start off with showing you just some of the basics, and then we're going to show the different ways in which you can add additional challenge or change your stance for these various thigh and shin circle exercises and how you can adapt them to your level or to your range of motion, because they are accessible to everybody, and sometimes that may require adapting your range of motion a little bit. Hi, Jan. Thanks for letting me know that you can hear me. So I'm probably just, my computer is not functioning, but I'm glad to hear that you can see me. Let me know if you have any questions as we go along. So what we're going to talk about, we're going to start off, you want to start off with shin circles or thigh circles? Let me know if you have an opinion in the comments. Otherwise, I'm just going to choose one. Before we do that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our stances so you know what I'm talking about when I mention different stances, okay? So, make sure you can see my feet. Square stances are what we in Kettlebell Solo call when the feet are parallel to each other. What I'm doing right now is called a narrow square stance, so feet are right next to one another. Then the next square stance is neutral square. This is feet about hip width apart. This is a really common stance within strength training. You're often going to hear feet about hip width apart. We call this neutral square. And then lastly, we have wide square, which is any stance where the feet are wider than hip width apart. That's our wide square stance. Then we also have stagger stances, okay? So stagger stances just mean, right, what it sounds like. One foot is in front of the other. So we can use our different widths, narrow, neutral, and wide from our square stances and pair that with lengths. And we're going to do that with short is 1 foot length back, okay, like 1 foot length back. Mid would be about 2 foot lengths back, and long is going to be about 3 foot lengths back. Okay, so then we can have different stagger stances in narrow, so narrow short, narrow mid, 1 more foot length back, and then, sorry, I'm getting out of screen here, and then narrow long. Same thing for neutral, right? We have a neutral short, we could have a neutral mid, we could have a neutral long, and then the same thing for our wide. Wide long, wide mid, wide short. Okay? So the reason that's important is that we often use, or there's different types of thigh circles and shin circles that are based on those different stances. And the reason that's useful is that you want to train your body in different stances, not just in that neutral square stance. You want to also train it in in a narrow short stagger stance. You want to train it in a wide square stance. You want to train it in a neutral long, like for a split squat. So that's going to be a way to train your body to better be functional for other things that you're doing in life versus always training in the same stance, right? If you always train in neutral square, life doesn't really happen in neutral square. It happens in many different types of stances, okay? So that's why it's good to use different stances for these different, for any exercise, not just for thigh circles or shin circles, but also for squats, for deadlifts, maybe even for swings, for essentially any exercise that you do. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. It looks like I'm finally seeing this on here. Great, so we're going to go ahead and talk about our shin circles first. I had no votes in the comments as to whether you wanted to see shin circles or thigh circles first, so we're going to go ahead and do shin circles. So shin circles are going to utilize a hinge or deadlift position. So that means this position, and again, we can use any different stance, whether that's a neutral square, whether that's a wide square, even a narrow square, or doing a stagger stance, like a neutral short stagger, and I'm going to show you how that works in the different stances, okay? So our shin circle, what we're training when we're doing a shin circle is we're training the strength of our legs, our glutes, our core, and our lower back. And the shin circle is a great exercise just on its own to build strength, but it's also a great preparatory exercise if you want to do more dynamic hinge exercises like swings, cleans, snatches. It's going to build the strength and stability to make sure that you can handle those exercises. You got to go slow before you go fast. Okay, so the basic shin circle in, say, a neutral square stance would be you hinge, and you're going to do exactly what it sounds like. You're going to circle that kettlebell around your shin. Nice, slow, and controlled, keeping your abdomen engaged. Of course, you got to go in the other direction, okay, and you match it up, and then you got to go to the other leg. Okay, so really great way, again, to build strength, not just in your legs, but in your back, in your core. Okay? And I highly recommend, if you have a kettlebell, follow along with me on some of these exercises so you get to give them a try, see what I'm talking about. I'm already starting to get warm. It's a great way to build full body strength, especially when the core is so activated during the exercise. And I recommend starting any type of shin circle with a light weight. 5 to 15 pounds to start. I'm using a 26 pound because I like the way the blue kettlebell looks with my orange pants, honestly. But I may use a lighter kettlebell in a minute. Also, I've been training these exercises for about 4 years, but I highly recommend starting with something very light. Okay, so now, again, this is really simple, and the reason why I love this exercise is that, okay, you're essentially holding this position, but it's more fun than just holding it because you have a task, right? You've got a certain number of reps that you got to do, and you're shifting, like when you shift from this side to this side, you get just a little change. You're targeting your core a little bit different, and again, a great way to prep your body to handle doing things like swings, cleans, and other advanced hinging exercises. Okay, so the other thing we can do with a shin circle is we can take it into a stagger stance. Okay, so we take it into a stagger stance. We're still hinging. Okay, we're spreading our weight pretty evenly. One key on the shin circle is you want to keep the kettlebell really close around your leg. This is also going to help you map your body in space and time, improving your proprioception, which improves your coordination, your reflexes, your mind-muscle connection, your ability to adjust when you're doing anything physical in life or in your workouts. Okay, the other key is to keep the bell really around the top of your shin rather than low. The lower you go, the harder this is on your lower back. So if you want to make it harder, do an ankle circle. But we're starting with a shin circle. So the bell of the kettlebell is going around the shin. The handle can be going around your knee. Then you would shift your weight back a little bit and you would do your circles around the back leg. Okay, so it's going to offer you more of a challenge. And then you would switch sides. So then you want to do the same thing on your other side. Neutral short stagger stance on that other side. Now this may look easy. Again, I highly recommend give this a try. Follow along with me if you've got a kettlebell with you. It is not easy, especially if you take your time and go slow, which is what I recommend. You might get like a bit of a burning sensation in your lower back, okay? That's okay. It is working your lower back, but one thing you want to be mindful of in shin circles is to stick your booty out rather than rounding. As soon as you start to round, you're going to overly tax your lower back. If you stick your booty out and engage your core, you're going to put more of that weight into your glutes and into your hips. So that's an important cue to keep in mind for your shin circle. Yes, Maxwell, you said it looks easy. It looks easy, but it's not actually that easy. Hi, Srijit, thanks for joining. John Hip, you can absolutely ask me something if it's an appropriate question, okay, if it's related to kettlebells and fitness. Hi, Abby, thanks for joining. Glad to see you here. Okay, I have to give that disclaimer if somebody says, can I ask you a question? Because I get some weird comments here on YouTube Live sometimes. So just trying to help you out. If you ask a weird question, you will be blocked. Okay, so then with our shin circle, here's another stance you can try, which is narrow. So this seems like it would be quite easy. What you're going to do is you're going to circle the bell around both your shins on this one. It's actually a little bit harder because you've got to make a wider circle. You've got to keep your chest up as best you can, and you have to sit a little bit deeper into those legs. Okay, I could liken it a little bit to like a chair pose in yoga. If you've ever done that, looks easy, but it's not. Okay, so that's how we use our different stances for our shin circles. And again, another great stance that you can try, really challenging on the shin circle, is a neutral long, so kind of like the stance you would use if you were doing a split squat, except forward hinge and circling nice and slow. Again, slow and controlled. And so even though I'm feeling this mostly in my booty, my hips, my lower back, I'm also getting good workout for my upper back and my arms. You could probably tell. Okay, so really great one there. Again, you don't need to go super low on this one. Just circling the bell around the top of the shin, handles right around the knee level, is going to be a great workout. If you go low, like around the ankle, it's going to be way harder. That's a more advanced version of the shin circle, also called the ankle circle. Hi, Gloria. Thanks for joining. Glad you're joining us. Abby, I'm glad that you were excited and waiting for this stream. Let me know if you have any specific questions or anything specific you want to see. Okay, so now our shin circle, we're not even done with the shin circle. There is more to it. This is what I love about leg circles, because there's so many different stances and there's so many different ways to adjust the exercise. You can progress it in different ways. You don't just have to grab a heavier kettlebell. You can adjust your rep range, but you can also adjust your stance to make it harder. And you could do something like moving from your shin circle to a shin circle figure eight. And there's two different ways that we do our figure eights in kettlebell solo. So I like to do a wide square stance. It's a nice basic stance to start with for this. Okay, so instead of just circling around one shin, we're going to do a figure eight. Now this one's a little more common in the kettlebell world. You've probably seen this one before if you've watched kettlebell workouts or videos, but we're going to take it nice and slow. Okay, so you're going to circle that bell again around your shin, and then you're going to circle it around the other shin, and trying to keep your body, your legs, your torso as stable as you can, Again, I'm making sure that I'm sticking my booty out. I'm engaging my abdomen, especially my lower abdomen, sinking my weight back into my hips. Okay, and then you always want to make sure you reverse direction. It's going to challenge your body and your grip a little bit differently in each direction. Great for strengthening your grip as well, which I don't know if you know this, but having a strong grip is correlated with how long you live. So the stronger your grip, the greater your chances of living a long, healthy life. Okay, so that's our basic shin circle figure eight. Then we call that the static version, where your body is static while the bell is moving. Then we've got another fun version, which is called our figure eight with weight shift. I like this one. Kind of looks like you're dribbling a basketball. When you do it, you're essentially going to follow the kettlebell. Okay, so you're going to shift your weight to where the kettlebell is. You're still not moving really fast. You're taking it slow and controlled. That's how you're going to build good strength and mobility in this exercise, okay? But it makes it a little more fun. I think it's actually a little bit easier than the other version, but it's going to get your heart rate up a little bit more here, adding that weight shift. And as always, we go in each direction. I recommend if you've got a light kettlebell, try out some of these moves with me. You might be surprised at how much they challenge you. They look easy, they look basic, and they are basic, but they're not easy. Okay, so that's our shin circle figure eight. Thanks, Anthony. Let me know if you give this exercise a try. Okay, so that's our shin circle figure eight, static and with weight shift. Let me know if you have any questions about shin circles. Shin circles or shin figure eights. Now, part of the reason, or one of the reasons why this is such a great exercise is because it helps you prepare for more advanced hinging exercises like swings, like cleans with the kettlebell, but it's also just a great exercise on its own to strengthen your glutes, your hips, your abs, your back, your legs. It also strengthens your upper back and your arms. Okay, you can see it, right? When I'm just holding the kettlebell here, look at how it flexes all my muscles, right? So you're working everything on this exercise, and it's very basic. Next, let's talk about our thigh circles. Okay, so thigh circles are kind of the butter to the bread of shin circles, like they're both essential and important, okay? And instead of using our hinge position, what we're gonna use on our thigh circles is our squat position, okay? So there's a difference between thigh circles and shin circles. Shin circles are more focused on like your hamstrings, your glutes, your back, and the thigh circles, or rainbows, which I'll show you in a minute, are more focused, whether we're in a stagger stance or in a square stance, on a little bit more on your quadriceps and a little bit more intensive on your shoulders and your upper body. Okay, so the most basic version of a thigh circle that we do is called a thigh rainbow. So it's essentially a half circle, and this is a great exercise in and of itself, but it was initially created because sometimes with the thigh circle, it can be a little bit challenging for some people, depending on their arm and torso length, to reach under their leg and be able to grab the kettlebell. So the thigh rainbow is a simple fix to that. It's actually become a favorite exercise within the kettlebell solo system. So say you're in a neutral square stance here, okay, for a thigh rainbow, what you're gonna do is simply lift the bell over your thigh, okay? So you're just making a rainbow shape over the top of your leg. Again, this looks very basic, very easy, right? I challenge you to pick up a kettlebell and give it a try because it's harder than it looks, okay? The kettlebell, and we'll switch it to the other leg. The kettlebell is just barely going over my thigh, so you don't have to lift it up really high. That'll be a little too taxing for the arms. But you want to go nice, smooth, and slow. Okay, and generally probably about 5 to 10 reps per leg on a thigh rainbow. So our neutral square stance, I would say that's one of the easier stances. You want to make the thigh rainbow harder, you want to see everyone's favorite version, it's going to be our neutral long stagger Also like a similar stance that you would use for, say, a split squat, right? You're just gonna go down like a quarter or a half squat. If you go really low, you can do that, but it's very, very hard. So I would save that for later. Just go like a half squat position, and that bell just comes up and over. Again, very simple, very basic, excellent exercise to train your lower body, your core, your arms. Great kettlebell exercise for beginners, but advanced lifters can get a ton from this exercise as well. You'll see why when you give it a try. It also really works your balance, okay? This stance in particular is gonna work your balance and challenge you to stay nice and stable as you're moving that kettlebell back and forth. Again, just barely going up and over the thigh. You don't need to lift that kettlebell very high. Okay, whew, my legs are burning. Let me know in the comments if you gave this a try. Yes, Anthony, breathing is important. Incorporating good breathing into the routine is very important. Okay, so next up with our thigh circles, we could do our thigh rainbows for now. We're gonna go into our thigh circles in a moment. Next up is like a narrow square stance, okay? So you do like a quarter squat position in that narrow square, trying to stay as tall with your chest as you can. If you lean over, it becomes more of a shin circle. So you're trying to stay nice and tall. You don't have to go real low. And then again, just up and over. Again, this is a great exercise for your glutes, your quads, your hips, your shoulders, your back, and your core, your arms. There's really nothing this exercise does not get. It's a great exercise. Let's see what else I missed. So you could also do it in like a narrow, short stagger stance, okay? It would just be, you probably wouldn't go quite as low. It's kind of similar to a narrow. You could do it in a neutral short, which would, again, you wouldn't be quite as low as like the neutral long. My favorite stances are the neutral long and probably like a neutral square. Now there are many additional variations, so stay tuned with this one because we got a lot of additional variations. Hi Karadin, hi Arungu man, thanks for joining. Thanks Anthony, appreciate it. Okay, so we also got our double thigh rainbow, okay? So this is when we're in a square stance. We don't do it when we're in a stagger stance because you can't really. But for the double rainbow, what you do is you make two rainbows, right? So you're gonna go up, center, to the side, double rainbow. Double rainbows are really lucky, right? Double rainbows are a great way to build that strength, okay? If you wanna make the double rainbow a little bit more challenging, then you simply go single arm, okay? And then when you come over, switch. You come over, switch. Okay, that's gonna make it more intensive on the upper body. Great exercise. Okay, of course you can also do this in a wide square if you wanna make it a little bit more challenging. It's gonna add a unique challenge here. A little bit of rotation may need to happen through that upper body, okay? So another great variation to do. And then, hi Jez, thanks for joining. Hi Joanne, thanks for being here. Okay, so now what we can do with our rainbows is we can add a pulse. Just like with our shin circle figure eight, we had a static and we had a weight shift. Okay, we got a couple of variations, actually even more than a couple. We got a lot of variations we can do with these guys. So for our thigh rainbow, rather than just doing static, which is a great one, what you can do now is you can add a pulse. Okay, so this is going to make it more challenging on your cardio, right? So right here it becomes a cardiovascular exercise. This is a great exercise you can do as a beginner with kettlebells. instead of a kettlebell swing. Kettlebell swings are great, but they are not a beginner exercise. So this is a simple way you can get your heart rate up with kettlebells that doesn't require any fancy advanced technique. So you can do that in any stance, okay? You can do it in your narrow square stance. You can do it in your neutral, I forgot which one I was doing. In your neutral square stance, you can do it with your double rainbow here, or your double single arm rainbow. Okay, you can probably tell from the way I'm talking that this is getting my heart rate up. Okay, so an excellent exercise there that you can add that pulse in. We've got another way that we can incorporate our pulse that's going to make it, I would argue, even a little bit more challenging. Sky Spec said, go deeper. It gets more challenging the lower you go, so you try it too. Hi, Oliver. You asked how many pounds of the kettlebell I'm currently using. The one I'm currently using is 26 pounds or 12 kg. That's a little heavy if you're first starting. I've been doing these exercises for about 4 years, and this is a good challenge for me. I would recommend starting with 5 to 15 pounds on your leg circle and rainbow exercises. Okay, so then another way we can increase the challenge is we can do a pulse. We call this one pulse, no pulse. Okay, so you saw our just our static thigh rainbow. You saw our pulse thigh rainbow. Now what we've got is a pulse, no pulse. Pulse, hold. Pulse, hold. Okay, and then when you reverse it, you hold and pulse. Hold and pulse. Hold, pulse. Okay, I think this is one of the most challenging variations, but if you try it, let me know what you think, whether you think pulse, no pulse, or just static is the hardest. They're both challenging in their own ways, okay? Then you reverse it and you pulse it, okay? Really good way, again, to work not just your strength, but your cardiovascular fitness, and you don't need a heavy kettlebell. And the reason why that's important, I catch my breath here, talking and pulsing is a little bit tough on the heart rate. You don't need a very heavy kettlebell, and the reason why that's beneficial is that it's easier to recover from light to moderate weight kettlebell exercises. Means you can work out more frequently. It means you can be more consistent because you're not getting sore for days at a time. So a lot of times the beauty of using a light to moderate weight and doing exercises like thigh rainbows, shin circles, is that you will really feel the burn when you're doing the exercise. Like, you know your muscles are working, but you often will be only a little sore or not sore at all if you're using the correct weight for you, which again, I recommend starting light. And that means that it's not as tough on your body, it's easier on your joints, and you're able to recover so you can be consistent, because that's really where results come from, is consistency in the long run and having a sustainable workout routine. So I'm going to show you more variations. I'm going to show you the thigh circle here in just a moment. We went over our thigh rainbow, but I want to show you the thigh circle. Jake said use pounds, kilograms are lame. Well, I use both because I can easily convert between the two with kettlebells. So 26 pounds, 12 kg, same. True Hefe, yes, absolutely. I can carry my own grocery bags. I don't know if I'm a man eater. I don't know what all these, you guys are getting close to getting banned, so maybe just tone it down, otherwise you got to go elsewhere. Absolutely, Anthony, the pulse works your brain as well. Yeah. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. Oh, awesome. Jez started her first kettlebell solo class, first program this evening. Definitely the static thigh rainbow. She's feeling the burn. Static thigh rainbows are hardest for me too, but the pulse, no pulse, you'll see, Jez, when you get to the classes that have the pulse, no pulse, those are really tough too. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so thigh rainbow is one variation, one exercise you can do. The other exercise, you can do a thigh circle. Okay, so the thigh circle is probably exactly what you're expecting. It's very simple. Okay, you're gonna circle the kettlebell around your thigh. Okay, the challenge here is sometimes this can be tough mobility-wise. It can be tough to kind of keep your chest up, okay, especially on the square stance here. That can be tough, okay. As always, you want to make sure you get both sides. I'm really starting to sweat here. Maybe we'll need to downsize to my other kettlebell in a moment. Okay, so these are tough, even if you just do a few reps, and I recommend you start, again, with not too many reps and with a light weight. Now, again, you can do this with any stance. You could do it with a neutral short stagger stance. With this one, you may need to lift up the back heel in order to get underneath that thigh on the front leg. Okay, and then you're going to switch over to the back leg. I like to turn my toes out a little bit, so that feels better for my hips. Okay, and you get a little bit of rotation through your torso as you do that back leg, and it's going to challenge your legs in a different way. Whew, okay, a little break before I show you the next stance we got here. Oh, Joanne, you started a 6-week personal training course, 3 classes a week. You started your 3rd week. They do kettlebell a lot. You like it. That's awesome to hear, Joanne. Definitely check out my kettlebell solo YouTube channel. If you're looking for specific workouts to follow along to, the kettlebell solo channel I have has lots of follow along workouts, so you can check that out there. Okay, so now our thigh circles, we can also do them in our neutral long stagger. This is one of my favorite stances for the thigh circle. The tough part here is keeping the chest up. So sometimes you may need to lean a little bit forward. That's okay. Try to stay as upright as long as you're not literally in like a shin circle position, you're good. Okay, now, what else can we do with our thigh circle? Just like with our thigh rainbow, we have got the pulse we can add, okay? Again, this is going to increase the demand on our cardiovascular fitness, strength, endurance of our legs and our arms, okay? So that's going to make it extra challenging. Let me know if you have a guess what comes next after thigh circles. How do we continue to progress these further? Let me know if you have a guess here. You're welcome, Joanne. Any guesses what's coming next with our thigh circles? And then I have a special combo move to show you guys. Abby, you like the pulse rainbow? Definitely give those a try. Again, great exercise to do as opposed to a kettlebell swing if you're a beginner. Again, kettlebell swings are not a beginner exercise. If you know how to do them and you love them, awesome. But if you don't know and you're unsure about them, this is a great exercise you could do instead that's still going to work your strength and cardio like kettlebell swings. Ding, ding, ding. Jez has got it. Figure eights up next, okay? So this one, you're not going to do in a neutral long stagger because it doesn't work for that stance, but you would do it in a square stance, or you could do it in like a short stagger stance. So that would be a thigh circle figure eight. We'll try it in a wide. Okay, so similar idea to our shin circle, but now we're making that 8 around the thighs. A little rotation through the trunk feels pretty good. Okay, so again, excellent way to work your entire body, your legs, your arms, your core, your shoulders, your grip. Really works everything. And then, of course, we have our pulse thigh circle figure 8. Okay, same idea. We're just doing the figure 8. Okay, another fun one. This one is not as common out there in the kettlebell world as the shin circle figure 8. For some reason, people don't do this exercise, but it is an awesome exercise. Again, something you could do as opposed to swings that are technically much easier, but are going to give you similar benefits of full body strength and your cardiovascular fitness. I got one more thigh circle figure 8 I'm going to show you after I catch my breath. Thanks, Vimto. I will do my best. Do you do kettlebell training? Let me know. Okay, so I'm going to show you the thigh circle figure 8 in the neutral short stagger stance. Okay, going to look a little bit different than that wide square. Again, just another way to, when you do different stances, you're just training your body to be prepared for more positions. So life doesn't happen in one position. It's good to do your exercises in different stances because you're going to work your body in slightly different ways and better prepare your body to handle whatever you do with it out there in the world or whatever physical activities you try. Okay, so our neutral short stagger stance. So for this one, again, I like to turn my back foot out a little bit because it's more comfortable for me than foot straight forward because I am going to need to rotate a little bit. Okay, so because of that, it's easier for me to keep my toes out. You're welcome to do it however it feels best for you, but we're going to have that same idea. The trunk is going to rotate a little bit as you go from one leg to the other. You could also pivot on the ball of your foot here and then put it down. Pivot, put it down. It's up to you and whatever feels best for you. Okay, and then of course we can do that with a thigh circle. Or sorry, with a pulse. A thigh circle figure 8 with the pulse. And then of course you want to make sure that you switch legs and go other leg back, and you make sure that you do it in each direction. Maybe you add a pulse to that. Okay, so it looks a little bit strange maybe if you're used to seeing typical strength training exercises where you don't have this kind of rotation, but again, this is something that you would start with a light weight. You start with maybe 3 to 5 reps each direction, and you work your way up towards maybe 10 reps in each direction with your light weight, making sure that you're working different stances as well before you would ever increase the weight, because those different stances, the pulses, and all that are going to challenge you without the need for an additional weight. You can always add that weight later on. It's best to get the most out of the light weight as you can so that you establish a solid foundation for your training. So I still have a combo move I want to show you guys. A couple of combo moves I'm going to show you. Oliver has a question here. What exercise with the kettlebell would be helpful with building stronger legs, developing bigger calves? Hi, Elena. Thanks. I appreciate that. Yes, definitely give me a thumbs up or a heart if you can. Okay, so your question, Oliver, was what can develop stronger legs? Everything I'm showing you today will help you with developing stronger legs. So any of these thigh circle, shin circle combinations will help you get stronger legs. Your calves, split squat position, like this position, works your calves. Okay, if you want a specific calf exercise, obviously you can do calf raises, but most lower body exercises are going to be working your calves. I don't necessarily coach, I don't train people in a way to get their muscles to be bigger, really. I help people with functional strength, holistic health, for them to be stronger and do the things that they want to do. But again, you could do calf raises, you could do split squats, you can do tibialis raises to make sure you're balancing out your calf raise work, okay? And making sure that you're eating enough protein if you want your muscles to grow bigger. That is pretty key. Okay, let me know if you guys have other questions on these exercises so far, and I'm gonna show you a little combo move, okay? So some combo moves you can do with your shin circles and your thigh circles, or you could do it with a thigh rainbow. I'm gonna show you with a thigh circle, okay? So one thing you can do in your square stance is you could do a series of shin circles. So say you do 5 reps in one direction, pretend I did 5 full reps, I reverse it and go 5 reps in the other direction. Then I'm going to sit my torso up and I'm going to do thigh circles, okay? 5 reps in each direction. And when I'm done, guess what? I'm going to go to the other leg and I'm going to do shin circle. 5 reps, reverse direction. 5 reps in the other direction. Then I'm going to sit up tall and I'm going to go into my thigh circles, okay? 5 reps each direction. Now, I can do that same thing in my neutral long stagger, for example, or my neutral short stagger. Okay, so doing my shin circles, okay, I do a certain number of reps, then I sit back and I do my thigh circles. Okay, certain number of reps, reverse the direction, and then you would switch sides. Other leg forward, doing those shin circles, doing those thigh circles, sitting that torso up, and doing your reps. So great combo exercise. We can use both. I'm going to open my window because it's getting hot in here. Okay, we got a little breeze flowing in here, which is good. Jez, yes, that combo is in some of our classes. It probably comes up, I don't know if it's any of our short classes yet, but it's in our express and solo classes. Our 30 and 60-minute classes have that combo. Now, the other full-on combo move, so that's kind of like stringing 2 different moves together. The next full-on combo move is called a shin thigh figure 8. Okay, so again, you can do this in a square or a stagger stance, and my preferred would be either a neutral or wide square and then a neutral long stagger. Okay, so this would be a shin thigh figure 8. You're going to do your shin circle and then thigh circle. So you lean forward and then you sit up. Lean forward, sit up, you reverse it, sit up, lean forward, sit up. Okay, and then you would do the same thing on the other side. Shin, thigh, 8. So you're changing your stance a little bit, reversing it. So I'm going kind of quick because I'm not trying to do a ton of reps, but I think you guys get the point. Okay, so that's your shin, thigh figure 8 in square stance. My absolute favorite is this next one, shin, thigh figure 8 in neutral long stagger. So this one, quite challenging, really good workout for the quads. Okay, so you go shin, sit it low for your thigh. Shin, thigh, shin, thigh, shin. Notice I'm changing my body position. That's a key part of the exercise because it works the legs a lot to change that position. I'm bending lower as I do that thigh circle and shifting forward as I do the shin circle. Okay, absolute killer exercise for your legs. You could add a pulse to it if you wanted to on the thigh circle. Okay, you could add a pulse. I think it makes it a little bit easier, a little less effective with the pulse, but it'll still really get your heart rate up. Again, I'm going a little bit fast. Ideally, I'd like you to go a little slower like this. Going to get the most out of the exercise, really work your stability and your balance when you go slow. Whew. And I'm telling you, you can get an excellent workout with those leg circles with just those exercises. I'm sweating, and all I did was demonstrate these exercises to you guys. And I hope you see that they are very simple. Anybody can do them. You don't have to have experience with kettlebell training to do these. All you need is one light kettlebell. You could use a 5-pound kettlebell, and you'll get a great workout. I mean, you could do a lot of these things without a kettlebell. It's just more fun with the kettlebell. Any questions on leg circles? Ciao, Jasek. Grazie mille. I'm actually learning Italian. In case anybody's used the app Duolingo, I'm learning Italian on Duolingo, so. Hi, Willie. I live in the US. I'm not going to tell my location randomly on YouTube Live, but I'm American. Hi, Willie. Thanks for joining from France. Bonjour. I don't really know any French, and my accent is terrible, so I'm not going to try. Any other questions on thigh circles, shin circles, kettlebell training in general, fitness, holistic health? Drop them in the comments. Let me know. Let me know if you have any thoughts on some of the exercises I shared today. Does this look like something that you might want to incorporate into your routine, that you might want to try? If you're trying to build leg strength, core strength, back strength, then these are great exercises to incorporate. Thanks, Willie. I really don't know much other than bonjour. That's about it. Awesome, Joanne. Thank you for joining me, even though it's late over there. I appreciate that. Definitely check out my other videos. If you go to my profile and just click the live tab, you can see all the previous lives that I've done. I go live 3 times a week currently, so that's Mondays, 1 p.m. Pacific time, Wednesdays, 9 a.m. Pacific time, so that's a little bit earlier for you, and then Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. That might be a little late if you're in Europe. Yes, Willie, I do know the Turkish get up. Let me know if you have any questions about that exercise. Any other questions about kettlebell training, about leg circles? Hi, Spectrum. I just got done showing shin circles, thigh rainbows. Let me know if you have any questions on those. I can briefly recap for you if you want. Hi, Lotus Lane Larson. You said I haven't seen your visits. Are you doing only specific workout exercises, or is there a variety? I focus mostly on kettlebell training, but I also have videos on mobility, handstand training, stall bar training. So really, there's a wide variety. Kettlebells happens to be the thing that I kind of have a specialty in, but I train lots of different things, so there is a variety there. If you're looking for something specific, let me know, and I can definitely do a live or create a video on it. Shilpa, you're going to get blocked. Let me know if you guys have other questions. I can do a quick recap of what I talked about earlier in the live. So I demonstrated shin circles. Shin circles, very similar to the thigh circles, okay? You're just circling the bell around your shin, okay? And then from there, we can also progress to stagger stance. We can do narrow square stance, okay? We can also do figure eights, static, where I keep my body pretty stable, and weight shift, where I shift from side to side, making sure that I'm reversing directions. So this is a great exercise to strengthen, especially your posterior chain, okay, your hamstrings, your glutes, your back, but also your core and your arms and your upper back. Willie, as far as the Turkish get-up, I mean, there's not really any muscles that the Turkish get-up doesn't work because it's a full body exercise. Most of your muscles are getting worked, but because of that, I would say it's not a very specific exercise. Like, it's probably most intensive on your shoulders because you're keeping that kettlebell overhead, so it's probably going to be most taxing on your shoulder. Spectrum, I don't know, I could probably do between 40 and 50 push-ups. How about you? How many push-ups can you do? Other questions about kettlebell training, kettlebell exercises, thigh rainbows, thigh circles, shin circle figure eights, thigh circle figure eights, or shin thigh figure eights. It's the other stuff we covered. We covered thigh rainbows, okay, thigh rainbows in our square stance. Again, excellent exercise for your entire body. You can tell it works my shoulders. This is part of why my shoulders look so jacked, is from doing these exercises and eating plenty of protein. Okay, double thigh rainbows, easier variation, harder variation, single arm all the way through, switching arms. Okay, you can also add a pulse, whether you're just doing the thigh rainbow or you're doing a double thigh rainbow, or you're doing single arm, double thigh rainbow. Okay, you can also do your thigh rainbow in a stagger stance, static, or you can do it with a pulse, or you can do it with a pulse, no pulse, pulse, no pulse, which is one of my favorites and very difficult. Yeah, Jez, you said you like the look of shifting side to side. Yeah, it's fun. It feels like smooth and flowy. It's a fun one. I definitely recommend trying it. Good for mobility of the hips as well. Nice, Spectrum. Good job on your push-ups. Okay, I got a question here from Anthony. Would you recommend to trim the midline? What I would recommend if you want to trim your midline is track your food. If you've never used a food tracker, invest in a food scale, weigh your food, track your food for a few weeks without changing anything. Try not to judge yourself, just try to keep it the same. Then you'll have an accurate picture of what you're doing so you can make adjustments. Oftentimes I think we're just completely unaware of exactly what we're eating, and we may have an estimate, but it's not really accurate. So if you don't know where you are right now, you don't know what direction to take to change it. And if you want to trim your midline, that's going to be almost completely diet. You could have the perfect workout, and if you don't change your diet, you're likely not going to see a change. Yeah, Abby, you said you like the combos, like the shin thigh figure eight. Is that what you mean? Willie asked, any exercise to lose fat? So I think this is an important question to address, because I get this question almost every time I do a live. It's a very common question, which is like how to lose body fat or how to lose belly fat specifically. Now, there is no one exercise that can spot reduce fat. So if you do a bunch of core crunches and core exercises, that doesn't guarantee that the fat from your midline will actually go away. Okay, there is no, any exercise can be useful in weight loss or losing fat. However, the main benefit to strength training is that it builds muscle. When you build muscle, you increase your metabolism and you increase the amount of calories you burn at rest. So that's the main reason why that will help you with weight loss. In addition to the other benefits that you move the lymph in your body, you build strength, you build confidence, you build connection to your body. There's lots of other benefits besides that. But when it comes to weight loss, the most important thing to look at is your diet. And to your point, Southwest, you asked, isn't belly fat the last and hardest to get rid of? Not necessarily. It really depends. Different people store fat in different places. So some people store fat in their belly and they lose it there right away. Some people, it's the last place to go. Some people, that's thigh. Some people, it really, there's no specific answer to that. There's just, what I would recommend is, rather than focusing on losing fat, is focusing on health. I think if you focus on your health holistically, not just your physical body, your emotions, your psychology, your spirit, if you focus on holistic health and you get healthy from the inside, which means you want to take good care of your body, you want to nourish this one vessel you get to live your life in, it will reflect on the outside. And what your body looks like when it's healthy might not be what you think it should look like. When I first started out as a trainer, I was in my early 20s, my body looked a certain way, and as I got older, I kept wanting my body to look like that. And when I struggled because my body was changing and growing more into a woman's body, I struggled because I had a picture of what it should look like. And only when I embraced that my body would take the shape that's healthiest for it, if I do the things that are healthy for it, my body started taking a shape that I actually enjoyed more. But when I tried to really rigidly control my body and get it to look like what I wanted it to look like, it didn't look that way, okay? That stressed me out, and it didn't actually get me to where I wanted to go, and it left me with a bad mindset, and emotionally it wasn't a good place to be. If you focused on health first, losing the body fat will follow. The look will follow, but it's not the most important thing. I just want to emphasize it. Like when you're on your deathbed and people think if you think back about your life, or people think about what you were in their life, are they going to remember what you looked like, or that you had some belly fat? Or are they going to remember the type of person you were, and that you were kind, and that you were good to other people, and that you were there for people through hard times, and you were authentic? Okay, I think that's more important, and I'm going to get off my soapbox now. Yeah, Abby said Shin Thigh figure 8, split squat stance. Yes. Eagle International offline. Thank you for watching from India. Absolutely true. Focus on health. Kartik, you said, can you share your thoughts about emotional intelligence? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. Elena, you said, does the momentum help, or should we try to keep the kettlebell stable instead of having its own weight, movement, trajectory, momentum? There's going to be a little bit of momentum, but ideally you don't really want to be like using the momentum of the bell when you're doing it. You want to be like pretty calm and stable. When you're doing your pulse, that's when the momentum of the leg is going to help you with bringing that kettlebell up. So on the pulse one, you are using momentum to help you, and that way you can also move a little faster, or you can use a heavier weight. Let me know if that makes sense. Southwest, my tombstone, here lies Southwest, who tried his best to lose his belly fat, LOL. And I don't mean to say that, to belittle that if that's a goal of yours. I don't mean to like, oh, it's stupid to focus on that, because I have absolutely had similar focuses, so I'm not trying to say it's easy to let go of that, because we're bombarded with messaging in our society and in the fitness world that you're never good enough, and that you never look good enough, you always need to look fitter, you always need to lose more weight. That's done by design, okay? Marketing is meant to make you feel insecure so that you buy things. Because you're never good enough as you are, when the reality is you have everything you need inside of you. But the marketing doesn't want you to know that. So it's totally understandable. We've all gotten kind of brainwashed by that. I certainly have, and gotten stuck on what I look like. So I don't mean to say that to belittle that. It's absolutely understandable to struggle with that and struggle with feelings around that. And it can be a certain one marker of health if you have a lot of belly fat. That's obviously one marker. Again, I think if you take care of what's inside, it's very often, we have struggles around our food or our exercise or being consistent because of emotional challenges that get in the way. I know for sure that I have different times where I start kind of eating emotionally, or like I want to eat sweets, I want to eat more because I'm feeling, I'm stuffing down other feelings I have. So I think all of that has to kind of be addressed to get to your healthiest place in your healthiest body. Thanks, Underground Adventures. Jez, thank you. You said I look completely different now, healthy and happy. It's definitely an ongoing process. I still struggle with a lot of the same things all you guys do, with what we look like, and with losing body fat, or wanting to exercise and like over exercise. So I definitely have a more balanced approach now than I used to, and I'm glad that it shows. Yes, Willie, don't need to apologize. It doesn't bother me. I just feel passionate about that topic because, unfortunately, I feel like people are struggling with, wanting to just change your body and feeling like they never look good enough, when the reality is that that's not the most important thing. It is obviously, again, one indicator, but I want people to recognize their own worth and value beyond that, and to address some of those inner things that help them get to a more vibrant, healthier place that isn't focused on controlling the body or a certain aesthetic, but just by genuinely like, I want to be healthy all around. Daniel, sorry, I'm not sure what your question is saying. Yuhun asked, do you do any strength competitions? No, I used to compete in kettlebell sport, but I do not anymore. And that's more of it's a strength endurance sport. Thanks, Elena. She's forever spreading my world champion status. Lamson, I don't know. I mean, I kind of wish I was a grandma and have some little grandchildren running around. Spectrum, you said you stopped eating bread and lost 12 kg in 4 months. Of course, you were exercising at home. Hey, well, that's good. I think if that helped you and that helped you feel better and feel healthier, and exercising is obviously an important part of getting healthier, and it can help you with weight loss, absolutely. Hi, Allie, thanks for joining. Man, you just got to hide a lot of people on Vertical Live because they have weird comments. Thanks, Anthony, I appreciate it. Thanks, Yuhun. Okay, broader discussion. You've got a question. How does stress affect weight loss? Absolutely, stress affects weight loss. I would say, in particular for women, at least in my experience, the female body, especially anybody, I think, but I know that the female body, from my own experience, again, loses weight when you're not stressed. If you're stressed, you're going to tend to hold on to body fat and cause inflammation in the body because there's a stress overload. So if you think of your body's capacity to handle stress, say you have like a bucket, that's your body's capacity to add stress. Your body doesn't know the difference between stress from work, stress from emotions, stress from working out, which you might call a positive stress. It's all stress. Some stress is good, some stress is bad, and it depends on how much you have. So that bucket gets filled by that stress from work, stress from emotion, stress from exercise, stress from whatever, anxiety, different things, stress from toxins in our food, right? If that bucket gets full, it doesn't matter what kind of stress. If you put more stress in, it's overflowing and it's just too much for the body to handle. So stress can absolutely affect weight loss. And again, I think this goes back to like taking an approach to your health that doesn't make you further stressed. If the approach you're taking makes you feel tense and stressed all the time, it's not going to help you get to where you want to go. If you feel like you're fighting your body, this is not going to get you to where you want to go. You want to make it as easy as possible for yourself. Okay, so do simple things, make small changes, and eliminate things that cause you stress, because yes, stress will negatively impact your ability to lose weight and to lose body fat. Any other questions? I'm not going to answer the voting question because I just feel like it's just a hot button topic to get people upset. It's another, thing to get people stressed about that distracts from their present reality. Geraldine, you said, I believe stress causes higher cortisol, which holds on to fat. I've had to learn this now in menopause. Yes, so cortisol is like a stress hormone that's released, but it is quite complex. So it's not, I'm not well versed enough in hormonal health to talk specifically about that. But if you want to know more, I can look up like an article that would explain it better than I could explain. Thank you, Willie. I appreciate the follow. Thanks for joining and for your question. Hi. Fadi, thanks for joining. Sandra, you asked, do you practice every day? No, I don't work out every day. I would say I usually do some kind of exercise every day, but that might just be like a 45-minute walk. Some days I don't exercise at all if I notice I'm tired and I need to rest. I usually do kettlebells between 2 and 3 times a week, maybe between 1 and 3 times a week, depending on the week. And then I also do handstand training, so I do that once a week. So I'd say I train between 2 and 4 times a week, like a workout. And then I usually walk on other days, but not always. Sometimes I do a little stretching. Sometimes I hang on that pull-up bar over there. You absolutely don't have to work out every day. Any other questions on kettlebell training, on leg circles that we talked about, I am going live next on Wednesday, October 23rd, and I'm going to be talking about hip mobility, I believe. Yes, hip mobility. This was a requested topic last week. We're going to talk about how to improve your hip mobility or hip flexibility. So if you have questions about mobility and flexibility, make sure to bring them on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. You can always catch the replay. It's on my YouTube channel. If you click on the live tab, you can check the replay out there. If you are interested in getting started with kettlebell training, if you're a beginner, check out my 7-day kettlebell Jumpstart. This is the best way for beginners to get started. And all you need is one light kettlebell. So I'm going to drop that link there. Sandra, you said, do you practice in bicycle? Do I practice? I do bike sometimes. I do really enjoy biking, but it's usually like once every few weeks. I don't do it super consistently, but you absolutely could do cycling as exercise. I think the best type of exercise to do is the one that you enjoy and will do consistently and will be able to do in a sustainable program long term, because that's where you're going to see the benefits pay off from exercise. Any other questions for me on kettlebells? Do you guys like this pretty blue kettlebell? It's nice, right? This is a Vulcan kettlebell, a Vulcan competition style kettlebell. They're quite inexpensive as far as competition kettlebells go, plus their colors are really pretty. Unfortunately, they're all out of stock right now, but I will let you know when they're back in stock. Actually, they only have really heavy ones in stock right now. Willie, you said you did kettlebells a few months ago. It was a front elevation and had back pain after that. Willie, by a front elevation, do you mean like you lifted the kettlebell like this out in front of you? Is this what you're talking about? If so, that's not an exercise I would recommend with a kettlebell. First of all, the reason why I don't recommend it with a kettlebell is because the longer the lever arm, which means the distance from your arm to the weight, the more intensive that exercise is on, say, your shoulder joint or maybe your back. Okay, and with the kettlebell, it's even more difficult than a dumbbell because the weight is like lower. It's not right here between the hands like a dumbbell, but it's down here, and that makes it even more challenging on the joints. So it's not, I would recommend doing it with a dumbbell, or you need to do it with a very, very light kettlebell. So likely, either the kettlebell was too heavy for you, your form was incorrect, and or that's not an exercise I would really recommend as a beginner with kettlebells, because again, that really long lever arm makes the exercise more risky. It's easy because even a very light weight feels very heavy that far away from your shoulders. So that would be my thoughts on that. Yihun, you had a good question that kind of goes along with Willie's question. Kettlebell versus dumbbell, which is better? I don't really subscribe to one tool is better than the other. Both of them are weights. You can use them for almost all the same exercises. There's certain exercises that work better with kettlebells and certain exercises that work better with dumbbells. For example, as I just mentioned, something like a front raise, something like a lateral raise is a better exercise with a dumbbell, in my opinion, because the kettlebell, because the weight is hanging low, it's much more difficult. You need a very, very light kettlebell to do it. It's just not the best tool for the job. The dumbbell is going to be better for that. I would argue that a dumbbell might be better for something like a bicep curl, although you can use a kettlebell for it. What exercises are better with a kettlebell? That would be a kettlebell swing is better with a kettlebell clean is better with a kettlebell snatch is better with a kettlebell, although you can do a snatch with a dumbbell as well. An around the body handoff works better with a kettlebell. Any type of leg circle that we did today works better with a kettlebell. Carries work better with a kettlebell. So it's not that one tool is better than the other. It depends on what you're doing with it, and that in certain situations one tool may be better than the other. Yeah, Willie, that sounds like way too heavy of an exercise for a front raise, no matter how strong you are, so I wouldn't recommend that. You probably were compensating with your back while doing it, so that's probably why your low back is hurting. Often if your lower back is hurting, you want to take a look at, did I do too much volume? Did I do too much weight? Was I trying to do a range of motion that I'm not ready for? Okay, because your lower back can easily get overloaded if you're pushing it too hard. Abby, you said bodybuilders don't recommend front raises either. They say stick to dumbbell presses for front delts. It's not that I don't recommend a front raise. I think a front raise is okay if you go light, in my opinion. But yes, it is riskier, I would say, than some other exercises. Butterfly is a question, what's the best time to work out? The time that is most convenient and allows you to be consistent with your exercise. That's the best time to work out, in my opinion. Jez, you said you're practicing embracing core and breathing technique. It's quite hard when you're not used to it. Yeah, it takes, like anything, it takes practice, and that's part of the journey, is just enjoying learning to better understand your body. And it's okay if you don't do it right at first, you know, it's an exploration, it's a journey. Yeah, Willie, it could be both. You're welcome. I think, you know, there's a lot of messaging in the fitness world to constantly push harder every week, workout, to push heavier weight, to always be testing yourself and progressing, but that is not a realistic way to train. You only are able to adapt to what you're able to recover from, and many times, you know, there's a message out there to push yourself when you're sore, to push yourself 110%, to push yourself day after day after day. That's a recipe for injury. It's a recipe for tweaking yourself or taking yourself out. Sometimes we get sick or we get a tweak because we're pushing ourselves beyond our limits and our body is begging for rest. So I would highly recommend tune into your body and notice if something doesn't feel right either during a workout, or maybe you're feeling tired on a day you're supposed to work out. Take the day off. Listening to your body, you're way better off doing that than pushing and forcing your body. It will always backfire on you. Thanks, Song. I hope you have a good day and a nice life and good health as well. Any other questions about kettlebell training, about leg circles and shin circles? Really appreciate you guys being here with me today. Any other thoughts or requests? If you have any requests from this live for next week, I usually choose my live topics on Thursday, so if you have any requests, let me know, because I try to base the lives on requests that people have, although the one that I did today on leg circles was not a request, but I just felt like it would be a good one to showcase some more of these exercises. Any other questions? Anybody have plans for Halloween? Is anybody going to dress up for Halloween? Let me know if you've got a costume in the works. Samantha, are there any desk exercises you can do with kettlebell? Like when you're sitting at a desk? I mean, you could do maybe like a squat with your kettlebell, you know, you could maybe do just a chair squat. You could do a shoulder rainbow. You could do a tricep extension. If you have room, you could do a bicep curl. So yeah, there's definitely different things you could do, but even if you're stuck at a desk, what I would recommend is just doing some movements, even if it's as simple as doing a calf raise, just getting the blood flowing. Even if it's as simple as doing a pelvic tilt, this would be definitely something I would recommend doing while you're seated. Hopefully there's nobody around so they won't look at you like you're a weirdo, but great exercise to loosen up your lower back and engage your lower abs. You're welcome, Willie. I appreciate you being here. Hope you have a good sleep. Wednesday I'll be on at 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's, I think, 6 p.m. in France. So if you're here on Wednesday, join us then. Abby, you asked how often should we work out one muscle group per week? How often? Well, it depends. I think you could work That is hard to give a specific answer to, because it depends on like your stress bucket and how much stress you have and how much you're able to handle. It depends on how much you can recover from. So I think for different people it might look differently, and it might look different if you're doing a split, like say if you're doing a bodybuilding split versus if you're doing a full body workout, right? So I would say if you're doing a full body workout, you probably don't need more than 2, maybe 3 workouts a week. If you're splitting it up, you probably could get benefit from doing, even just once a week per body part or twice a week per body part. Again, it depends also how intense is the session, how heavy are you going, how hard are you pushing yourself. So I'm giving an exact number of days per week, and I don't have a specific answer on that, but I think it could vary. It could go from as little as once per week to maybe 5 or 6 times a week if you were able to, if it was easy and you were able to recover from it. I don't know. I don't think 5 or 6 days a week would be the most beneficial way probably, but I think it's possible. Anita, your question is, can you suggest other tricep exercises other than a tricep extension? It really hurts your left elbow. One of my favorite tricep exercises is a shoulder rainbow. So you would go from here to here. So this is an excellent tricep exercise, and the slower you go, the less likely you are going to feel pain and discomfort. But you could also do like a plank hold. You could do push-ups. Push-ups are an excellent exercise, and you could also make it, sometimes making it easier can reduce pain, so doing like an incline push-up. Also an overhead press is a good way to work your triceps as well as your shoulders. So those are some ideas for you there. People really have some strange comments on here sometimes. Somebody said I should get all my moles removed. I'm like, I only have like 2. Jeez. Yes, Willie. Which side are you on? East side or west side of France? Yes, Jez, you love the shoulder rainbows. I love shoulder rainbows too, like my favorite exercise. One of my favorite combos is, and you'll see this in one of the upcoming classes, is a crush grip overhead press. Okay, really challenging. And then doing shoulder rainbows in combo with that. Killer combo for the triceps, the shoulders, and the core. Love those two together. Yes, yes, Ingus, the internet is weird. You don't know how many comments I have gotten today alone. Well, maybe you do if you're watching the feed. Today alone, saying that I'm a man or a trans. Do I identify as a trans man? I'm like, what? Any other questions on kettlebell training? Oh, Anita, okay, you said push-ups and chin-ups. That is all body weight exercise cause a muscle tightening of your left arm. Cables don't hurt the joints. Is there any way to fix my arm again? I wholeheartedly and completely believe that the human body has an amazing capacity for healing given the right circumstances. So, Anita, one of the things that I would recommend is just looking at like basic foundational level. Are you getting a good amount of sleep, which is going to be key for healing? Are you getting enough sleep and good quality sleep? Are you getting good nutrition with plenty of like protein and collagen to support healing in your muscles and joints? Are you hydrating well? Are you getting the different minerals that you need? Those things are some foundational things that are going to help with healing. And then there's, when you exercise, are you forcing or pushing through pain? Because usually anytime you do that, it's going to backfire against you. So I would recommend paying a lot of attention and learning to speak to your body and to understand the body's messages and to understand what it's saying to you. Sometimes the body is saying, ow, that hurts. Or most of the time, that means don't force through that, because that is only going to send a further message to your body that there's a threat. So learning the ways that you can exercise that respect what your body is asking you not to do, and it doesn't mean you can never do it again, but it means for a period of time, you need to do something different to help support your body in the healing process. And learning to listen to, signs of fatigue. If you're feeling tired or stressed, what can you do to, regain your energy, to rest up? I think those are some basic things that people forget to take a look at when it comes to injury. And then as far as, will your arm ever be the same? I don't know, like, if you'll be able to fix it. I don't know the details, but I wholeheartedly believe that you can at least make a lot of improvement. And a lot of it comes down to, don't force your body, be gentle with your body, use the range of motion that's pain-free, and try to continue to move your arm in the ways that you can that are pain-free and don't cause discomfort or pain while you're doing it or the following day. Hi, Jer. Hi from Ireland. Thanks for joining us from Ireland. Willie, you learn something new every day. I honestly didn't realize that there was such a big time difference within France. I think in part because my family's from the Netherlands, so I just think about, it's 9 hours later in the Netherlands, and I kind of just think, it's probably the same in France, but I'm just not thinking about it. So thanks for teaching me something that I wasn't aware of. You're welcome, Anita. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions. That's awesome to know, Samantha, or it says Sammy here. I don't know which one you prefer, but thank you for subscribing, and let me know if there's anything else I can help with. Thanks, Harley. Thanks for subscribing. I appreciate it. Any other questions that you guys have for me on kettlebell training, on health, on fitness, or if you have suggestions for a live next week for a topic you'd like to see me talk about, or a specific type of workout you'd like to see, I really take your feedback into consideration when I choose my live topics, because I want to make sure there's something interesting that you want to hear about, you want to know about, you want to see. Do you guys like my tank top? Do you see there's kettlebells? This is called the kettle corn. Pretty cool, right? Rebel MXMD, do I look like your sister? Willie, okay, so it is the same? Okay. See you on Wednesday, 6 p.m. your time, Willie. Ingus, you said you were working 5 months in the Netherlands. It is a nice country. It is a great country. I've never lived there, but it's great to visit. Samantha, this equipment is called a stall bar, the latter part, and then it's got like a pull-up dip attachment here. So really cool tool for mobility and strength work. This is like the type of thing you see people do, like a human flag when they hang like sideways on it. I can't do that yet, but one day. And then we've got some rings attached to it. So it's an awesome it's essentially like a little home gym right there. You can do a lot of cool stuff with it. Yeah, somebody said, I always wondered what that was on your shirt. Unfortunately, I feel like it's a little bit harder to tell that there's kettlebells in here than I wanted it to be when we made this design. The unicorn itself just fulfills all my horse girl dreams. I love it. It's so pretty. But the kettlebells, unfortunately, aren't as obvious. But yeah, this is a unicorn with kettlebells all over its mane. It's called the kettle corn. Anita, you asked, does a dumbbell pullover really work for lower chest? You're talking about like doing this? Yeah, I mean, I think it works. I think if I'm looking at myself right now, I'm like, I think it's working my chest. I don't know. I don't do a lot of dumbbell pullovers, so I can't vouch for like, yeah, I did it and it worked my lower chest, but could be a good exercise. Redefining mindsets, you asked how long have you been training? I have been strength training since I was 14. I'm like gonna do the math here. So I'm 33, so like about 19 years. I've almost been strength training for 20 years, if you can believe it. I was a track and field athlete in high school, so that's when I started strength training. So I've been strength training for a long time. Thanks, Ingus. I appreciate it. Glad you like it. Redefining mindsets, I don't know. I don't bench press. I used to bench press sometimes. I did one powerlifting competition back when I was like 20 or 21, but I don't even remember how much I benched. It wasn't anything very impressive. It's not something I really care to be good at, is bench pressing. It was, I would enjoy doing it if I had a bench press, but yeah, I don't really pay attention. How about you? Yeah, Ingus, ignore the weirdos, please. I'm like, yes, definitely ignoring the weirdos. I'm doing my best to hide them so you guys don't have to see all of it, but sometimes I don't get to it fast enough. Hopefully it's providing some entertainment to see all the trolls. What do I work on? Redefining mindsets, you're asking what do I work on? I'm not sure in terms of, I'm not sure what you're saying, but I'm assuming you're asking what do I work on? Oh, in terms of strength. My main goal for my training is to be healthy and fit into my 80s. So I want to, maintain and increase strength to the best of my ability without getting injured, without burning out, while keeping my body healthy. So I want to stay healthy and fit, but I have a history of really overtraining. So I'm just trying to find a place of balance where I learn to listen to my body, give it exercise when it needs it, and give it rest when it needs it, and not be obsessive over exercise as I have a history with. So I'm not super concerned about how much I can lift. The one thing I am specifically working towards with my strength is being able to do a freestanding handstand push-up. So that's something that is a goal of mine for strength. Right now I can maybe do kind of like a half handstand push-up, but I can't go all the way down to the floor and come up. So that's something I'm working on in terms of my strength. And for me personally, I prefer to work on a specific strength skill versus, at this point in my life, versus trying to lift as much as I can, because I know from having focused on that historically that it doesn't really make my body feel good. Yeah, Samantha, you're like, these people must think this is an OnlyFans channel. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Gridar asked free weights versus machines. Which one do you prefer? I prefer free weights mostly because I like to work out home, but I also like machines. I actually really enjoy when I do get the chance to go into a gym that's got machines, to just play around on the machines. And I think machines can be really useful as well. They're just, what I don't like about machines are they're so big, you can't just take them wherever, right? Or if you had them in your home, you'd have to have quite a large space. So that's what I like about free weights, or something like a stall bar that you can do a lot of exercises with, and it doesn't take up a ton of room, and you can kind of fit it in your home so that you can work out anytime. MGUS, if you currently use 10-pound dumbbells, what weight kettlebells should you get? You've never tried kettlebells but would like to try something new. Good question. I generally recommend starting between 5 and 15-pound kettlebell. So starting lighter is better, so you can set a really good foundation, especially if you start with kettlebell solo, which are the classes I teach. You don't need a heavy weight to get the benefit. A light weight, you'll get benefits because we do slow tempo work, we do different leg circles, we do different stances, that you'll get a challenge without a heavy weight, and you'll have the time to set that solid foundation. So that's what I would recommend. Anita, you said, do you have hard skin on your palms? You're thinking of removing. So calluses, I used to have really thick calluses. I don't have I have a little bit of callus, and if they get too thick, I peel them off. So it's up to you. You can definitely trim them down. They're often going to be kind of sensitive afterwards. So the easiest time to do it is after a shower when they're soft, and you can either just shave them down or peel them off. That's what I do. Yes, redefining mindsets. I enjoy calisthenics stuff. Absolutely. I can play Joan of Arc. That's funny because I have always been fascinated by the story of Joan of Arc. Ingus said, you want to be like that 80-year-old grandma that kicked intruder's ass. She's a lifter too. Absolutely. I'd love to be an 80-year-old grandma that kicked an intruder's ass. Who wouldn't want to do that? That'd be awesome. Jez, you said you didn't want to embarrass yourself at the gym. You enjoy kettlebells to work out at home. You did invest in a rowing machine 3 years ago. Rowing machines are awesome. Yeah, I would love to have a rowing machine. That's a great way to improve your strength and your cardio. And I could totally, understand, feeling like maybe a little bit embarrassed at the gym. I used to spend so much time in gyms as a trainer when I lived in San Diego. And now I work out at home, and I have a hard time imagining myself going back to the gym because I just like working out when there's no one there to watch me. I don't feel self-conscious. I have to worry about who's where, or, if anybody's going to bother me during my workout. I can just do my workout. My cats sometimes interrupt me, but that's not so bad. I just do supersets of petting my cats. Hamza, yes, I can do 20 push-ups. How about you? Thanks for redefining mindsets. I appreciate it. I can't do a handstand push-up yet, though, but I will. I don't know when, but someday. You bet. How much do you bet, Jim? If you bet enough, I'll do 10. If you send me a large enough super, I'll do 10. I did. Thank you, Ingus. I did ban him. Moto Auto, less talk, more exercise. How about you? Are you exercising right now, or are you scrolling? Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Sewell. I appreciate it. Let me know if you have any other questions. Hamza, I could do it if you send me a super. I will do push-ups and pull-ups if you send me a super. If you send me a 10, I'm like, well, I do it for 10. If you send me a $20 super, I'll do 20 push-ups. But you got to send me a 50 if you want me to do 10 pull-ups, because that's a lot harder. Thank you, Redefining Mindsets. I appreciate that. Jesus is absolutely in my prayers. Jim Rat, you asked, what's the best exercise that you recommend to people? That's a tough one. One exercise? I mean, depends on what you're trying to strengthen, but I would say upper body, push-ups. If you were only going to do one exercise, I'd say push-ups. Lower body, it would probably be like a thigh rainbow, like moving the bell up and over your thigh in like a split squat stance, like I showed earlier. That would be probably one of my favorite kettlebell exercises. Anita, you said how to deal with body dysmorphia, mental battles. Sometimes I think it's perfect. Sometimes I see the asymmetry, which really drains my confidence, although others don't really notice it. Anita, I can understand. I've definitely dealt with and sometimes still deal with a lot of body dysmorphia. I think it's important to remember, I said this earlier in the live, but I think it's something that's really helped me lately with perspective on when you're on your deathbed, do you want people to remember like, she had a hot body, or is it more important that what they remember about you is that you were kind, you were warm, you were there for them in times of trouble, you were happy because you accepted yourself and loved yourself. And I know that's easier said than done, but exploring some of the negative beliefs that we hold inside ourselves about ourselves and what our worth is, because a lot of times I think as women we base our worth on whether we're sexy or attractive, or other people see us as such, when in reality, what does that really get you beyond maybe certain benefits in the world, as far as like if you're a beautiful woman, there's certain things that maybe are handed to you on a platter, but they're usually material things that don't really say anything about, that don't really do anything for you in terms of your spirit, your character, your heart, and who you are as a person. So I think finding like a deeper reason and meaning for you, for yourself, for your life, beyond what you offer to other people, or beyond what your looks offer to other people, because the reality is that that's the least important thing about you. Sorry, I gotta ban the weird questions. How many push-ups can Jesus do? Maybe Jesus either could do like infinity or like the one push-up that was perfect. Ingus, you asked, are your joints strong and pain-free? For the most part, yes. I have some different joint pain, I think, from pushing too far when I was overtraining and trying to hit its limits. Oops. I think I went black here for a minute. Let me know if you can still see me or not. Okay, I think I'm back. Sorry, technical difficulties. Yeah, so most of my joints I would say are strong and pain-free, but I do have some joint pain from times when I've pushed myself too hard. So that's one of the detriments of if you overtrain or push yourself beyond your limits, you can get pain in your joints, and that's something that you may have to deal with for either your whole life or a long time. So it's one good reason to really listen to your body. Nayana, you said looking good matters. Looking good boosts your confidence and does a lot for the spirit and the heart. I do think that, you know, if you feel that you look good, I think that that's more important than looking good according to society's expectations of you. And I absolutely believe that if you focus on your health as a whole, so not just what you look like on the outside, but your emotional health, your spiritual health, your psychological health, that it will reflect on the outside in a way that's pleasing to other people because you know, love yourself, are nourishing yourself and taking care of yourself. But I believe that focusing just on what you look won't necessarily make you feel good and won't necessarily, it doesn't necessarily get you to the healthiest place if that's what your main focus is, in my opinion. Oh, Anita, I did not know that you were using your older sister's phone and you're a boy, so sorry I've been calling you Anita this whole time. Thanks, Jez. Can't be handsome, can be handy. Okay. Jim Rat asked, do you recommend high-intensity workouts or standard slow workouts? Both of them can be useful. I personally recommend more like slow strength workouts over high intensity because I believe that high intensity workouts are less sustainable, and the best, most lasting results come from having a sustainable workout routine that you can be consistent for a long period of time. So that's why I would recommend like slow strength workouts over high intensity. Plus, you just really increase your risk of injury with high intensity training. Anita, you said parallel bar dips is the best exercise. I'm going to call you Anita, sorry. Let me know if you want me to call you something else. Parallel bar dips is the best exercise for upper bodies. It covers triceps, shoulders, chest. Yeah, I think dips can be an excellent exercise for the upper body. I wouldn't recommend them for everybody because for some people it can cause shoulder pain. So that's why I would recommend a push-up. But push-up can cause some people shoulder pain as well. And dips can be a little bit challenging for some people, so they may need to do them assisted. So unless they have something to assist them, just doing that on a parallel bar may not be realistic for all levels. But it's a good exercise. Unfazed, you said Dr. Fulford's The Touch of Life book explains that listening to your body while working out is crucial. Your body informs you when it's hurting, but people wear earphones and blast music so they get hurt. Yes, that is a great point. So the classes I teach in Kettlebell Solo, they're follow along and we don't have any music. And some people have complained about that because they want to work out with music. But one of the reasons we don't have music is because we recommend using working out as a time to tune in rather than a time to tune out. It's a time to listen to your body, to notice what's happening instead of tuning out and just listening to the music and ignoring what's going on with your body. So I completely agree with that. Yeah, Ingus, you're right. Time goes fast and beauty fades fast. That's the thing, is there's always going to be somebody hotter, prettier, with a nicer body than us. You know, there's always going to be somebody out there, and somebody that's younger and somebody that's better looking. It's like, if that's what we're basing our value on, we're going to be constantly disappointed. All right, this has been a fun chat. This has been an awesome live. And I'm going to go ahead and log off here because we're going on 100 minutes. I appreciate you guys being here with me. Thanks, broader discussion. Thanks for saying I'm a great teacher. I appreciate that. I'm going to be back on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time and Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. Hope you guys can join me. We're going to be doing hip mobility on Wednesday. On Thursday, we're going to talk about kettlebell training for runners, a requested topic from last week. So appreciate you guys for being here. Have a wonderful week. I will see you on Wednesday.